Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Happy Friday to you. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Thank you again so much for the awesome feedback from my community who caught that nice little long from Bitcoin. Just to clarify, we took a long from 67,350 up to 68.8. Price pulled back almost instantly at that level. So just good little 20% on a 10x leverage trade. We also closed our Dogecoin short in profit. At this point though, it does look like it's wanting to run even further down. So awesome stuff either way you look at it. Let's take a quick look though at Bitcoin, see what's going on as far as, well, liquidation, we want to kind of double check that, but we also want to see and talk about this potential double top pattern. It's fairly aggressive. Is that going to get, push the price action down further? A lot of times when you see this kind of momentum or more so pattern, it can break down, but we want to look at other things too. Obviously, we don't just make a decision based on a simple candlestick pattern. That's never truly the best way to go. So let's take a look here at the Backend Data first, and if you could please folks, just hit that good old like button down below. Absolutely appreciate it. Helps grow the channel, gets us in front of more people, and less moon boys are gonna get you destroyed, I guess you could say. They'll probably still continue to do that. There's no way to stop them, but the truth is being a good best practice kind of trader is really the right way to go. So let's just take a look here. On the left-hand side, we can see Bitcoin. Basically, on the last 7 days, we have tons of liquidation to the upside, very little to the downside as far as like the immediate lower levels here, which is interesting, right? You would think that people are taking longs right now, but there's a lot more shorts in the market than there are longs, okay? So we've seen this consistency here for a little while, and we'll look at the delta here in a minute, but the truth is 69 to 70,000, there's a good chunk of liquidation there in the last 7 days that's accumulating. Also, too, I got the question earlier, like, why do your charts show such high amounts of liquidation? Generally because when I post on my charts like this, for example, 45 billion, between 68.8 and 70K, I put that on there because this is basically the monthly look back, right? So again, liquidation is going to be a lot more concentrated, a lot heavier. So the truth is we see a lot more liquidation on the upside in the grand scheme of things, right? Not necessarily more so the last last couple of days. This is like an accumulative. It's also spread across 3 different exchanges too, so there's that as well. But the truth is, still more liquidation on the upside than downside. That doesn't mean the price will shoot up. It just implies that there is more incentive for the price to go higher because there's more people, in the long term taking shorts than the short term. The thing about that is, and that's kind of funny actually, when you look at this here, this is the last 5 days worth of trading. This really helps us understand that in the last basically 1 day, roughly, we see a lot more longs than shorts entering the market. I mean, it's almost break even, if you will. That's barely it's like a half a billion. But the truth is, we're starting to see that shift in momentum, and this is a good sign. This is a good sign for longs in most cases to see that delta shifting back over. So that's something I like to look for. Very positive there. We can also see our local point of control or open interest. They're very similar in ways here. 67,500. That's right where we took our long position yesterday and secured profits perfectly at the top there at 68.8. And again, I got the question, how did you pick such good take profit targets? Generally speaking, it's just below key fib levels, or in this example, it was mostly just the extra amount of liquidation that was accumulated right at 68.8. Plus, it's not a round number too, so make sure you're careful. Don't secure profits at 68, 69, 70,000. Secure profits $50 or $100 just below that, or just a small margin below, at least on the way up. So it really helps you get in the front of the line, so to speak, because there's tons of people that are always going to round up with their numbers, and it's just it's a really common novice mistake to not get filled at specific round numbers like that, because you're generally going to be last in line, because a lot of times it's based on position size, not time. Okay, anyways, all that stuff means nothing here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the simple moving average and kind of see what's going on for the daily time frame. Because we want to recognize the ascending trend line is still good, okay? So even though we're looking a little bit on the bearish side today so far, and the price could still pull back, we want to expect the worst and hope for the best. We can, of course, see here that we're above the ascending trend. So the daily time frame, minus the fair value gap as low as about 63,000 as a rough estimate, looks pretty solid, okay? We're still in good shape here, even though, yes, we're diverging. Our RSIs and MFIs are in good shape. In fact, our money flow index is above the RSI now, which implies a very, very positive situation or more sustainability when you see that. Okay, MACD is trying to diverge, so is stochastic, of course. Our trend strength index is over 0, so there's a lot of reasons why we're still in good shape here. Even if the price pulls back to 67, 66K, we'd still probably be in pretty good shape based on that. So just know that that's a realistic estimate of the overall macro here. Still bullish overall. When it comes to the 4-hour time frame here, we can see, well, actually here, let's clean this up a little bit. I can see a pattern forming here. Let's talk about that here in just a minute. But before we do, I want you to understand that we're right here at this 50 level in the RSI, generally construed as a support level. Okay, money flow index has now surpassed the RSI, which is good. It shows that this coin is becoming more oversold, but yet there's a lot of money and money flowing into the coin, effectively telling us that we have sustainability. Okay, so it's a generally positive sign. We can also see stochastics trying to swing up. MACD is still converging, if I'm not mistaken. Well, it's starting to diverge, but it hasn't fully yet. So these are a lot of things here kind of letting us know there's a shift in momentum happening, but we're also bottoming out tentatively. And that bottom is that 67.5 mark here, right at the current price point. So when I look at this here, I can kind of see, and again, it's never an exact science, right, folks? But with like trend lines and patterns, for example, you can kind of see a pattern forming here. Okay, so the price action is kind of working itself into somewhat of a triangle. Now again, it depends on how many times we retest this bottom, but this could break out to the downside. A lot of times they do. However, we're still above majority of these important moving averages too. So what do you know, folks? We're kind of in this conflicting scenario here where we got a shift in momentum and a lot of support below us. So generally when that happens, you want to wait and see if the support level is going to hold first before you take a trade. Like yesterday, it just seemed pretty glaringly obvious that Bitcoin's going to pump. Right now, it seems it's kind of iffy, if you will, and I don't love trading iffy situations. So my general recommendation here, based on what we've seen so far, is that it's probably best not to take a trade. Another thing too is we don't have any confirming factors here on the Ichimoku cloud. Obviously, we're above the cloud, and that's positive. So if we close at 68,000 higher today, I think it's green light to take a long position. We got to hold and sustain 68K at the very least to be able to have a good chance of going up. But the last thing too here is the conversion line and the baseline. They're connecting. That basically tells us we don't have enough momentum to justify a good position. And same thing with the lagging span as well. It's not free and clear of the price action. So these are all signs that we're seeing that shift in momentum, and there's more propensity, I would say, from us. It's just a small margin. There's a slightly more probability we're going to see the price pull back or at least retest these lower levels first before we see it increase. So what I'll do is, as per usual, I'll post our playout chart here on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. I'll update our fib levels to this more recent local low to the local high, so we can kind of get perspective on how far this could pull back if it does, and then of course just help you understand, where we're at with the overall sentiment there. So again, if you're not familiar, Twitter, Telegram, Discord, the charts look a little something like this. I was expecting Bitcoin to maintain at 68,000. We have since lost that level. We closed below 68K today. I think we may see further downside. Another thing we want to recognize too, and I didn't mention this earlier, is that Bitcoin dominance is back on the rise. So it's really not a good situation to take longs with altcoins at this exact moment. It may change this weekend. But last Friday, for example, we had the exact opposite scenario. Well, minus Bitcoin dominance, but basically altcoins were starting to surge last weekend. And Friday leading into it, Bitcoin had a really strong day. Right now, we're kind of drawing dead. I don't have a lot of confidence that we're going to see a phenomenally strong weekend, but a lot of it depends on how we finish today's trading day. So I would recommend waiting for Bitcoin to close above 68K as a good baseline for maybe confirming a long position. Maybe the inverse as well. We close below 68K. Further downside may continue. So once more, we'll look forward to seeing what happens later. And in the meantime, I appreciate you watching. Hopefully you learned something today. Don't forget to comment below, like, subscribe, follow. Join us over at Bitunix too, folks. Awesome exchange. Link down below for that. They got a really awesome deposit bonus between now and the end of the month. These guys are phenomenal. They always make it right. And we've been working with them for over a year as a community. So thanks again, Bitunix, for a no KYC or VPN required exchange. That is very beneficial for our traders. Thanks again. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day.